So this week we've got some news. Hoser Lou has been posting some articles, and the last two articles you can find on our world news section of the site. So he posted about Aardman's new licensing deal. So it seems as though we're going to be starting to see some more Aardman merchandise showing up in America, which is kind of interesting because actually it's pretty hard to find any sort of Wallace and Gromit merchandise currently. So we'll see what happens there. And also, of course, Will Vinton passed away last week. Obviously, Will Vinton was a huge influence for me and also in the creation of our website. So it's pretty big news. We're going to get into that later on. So let me see here. So there's a couple of things I want to talk about first. Now, I think so. Omar was asking in the chat, where is the information about the 5-week challenges? And so I actually moved it around on the site. On the network page, if you scroll down just below our video section, you can see where we have our 5-week challenge highlight. And we had the latest topic, the challenge topic right here. So this is actually a clickable link. So if you guys want to join in, let's click it. So it will take you directly to the page where you would post your entries. And so this time we have our Thanksgiving topic, which I think, I was telling Omar, I think it could be a topic which has a lot of potential for funny antics and whatnot because of, family meetings and things like that where you have like the crazy uncle and, of course there's Thanksgiving turkey and ham and all that kind of fun stuff and, family fights and all that kind of stuff that goes with Thanksgiving sometimes. So anyway, if you guys are interested, feel free to join in and we'll watch on November 7th. We will watch all the entries live during our live broadcast and we'll kind of critique them. We'll also vote on who is the, who we think should win based on, some of the, like for example on animation, on sets and lighting and everything else. So it's a Thanksgiving challenge. Definitely check it out. Hey Weebeast, welcome back. So also we have a new section on the site. It is the historic picture section here. So now in honor of Will Vinton's passing, the first images that I posted on here, there's actually hundreds of them. These are all Will Vinton photos. So we have like the largest collection of Domino's Pizza Noid images in the world, believe it or not. I don't think anybody else has more pictures than we do in one spot. I've collected these for many years, and you can check it all out. These are really fun. The Noid was one of my favorite characters for sure from Will Vinton Studios. I actually took some of these pictures myself at the studio in the, I guess, mid-90s. And we've got also, let's see here, we've got photos of, the people that worked there. We have some photos from the Adventures of Mark Twain, which are kind of rare. These kind of pictures are sort of hard to come by, and that's why we don't have a ton of them for the Mark Twain section. But we have this large one, the Webster Colcord collection. So Webster sent us tons of pictures a while back, and he actually posted these on our Facebook page. Hey Randy, welcome. So we had these on our Facebook page, and Webster had carefully added descriptions to all of these, and so I went ahead and actually for each picture where he had a description like this one, I made sure to put the description right next to the photo, so everything is all there, as it should be. They were out of order at first. It's all in order now and everything, so it's pretty organized. We also have, of course, some images from the famous Christmas special. Like this one here is from a person that has some restored photos, and I just came into possession of a couple of these. This one here, obviously, from one of the famous scenes in the Christmas special with the Three Kings, and got what's like John Ashley here. Some of my photos from a magazine that I had a long time ago. But there's not very many photos of John out there. There's some which I can't post because Webster said they were too goofy, you know, like where he's just acting crazy and stuff. So for dignity's sake, I guess, that was the reasoning. So, but anyways, it was really kind of fun to post these and to upload them. And some of these are nice, you know, really high quality. You know, here's Sheldon Snail, some really, you know, when you watch the animations are they were shot on 16 millimeter, and then when they transferred everything digitally, it was on like VHS. And so what you see on the internet are usually, you know, VHS dubs of, you know, the lowest possible quality. But with this picture here, I can actually expand it. You can literally see, you know, all the little textures and things inside of there. And, so if you're wanting to like expand these pictures and make them bigger, just right click them and click on View Image if you're on Firefox. And some of them are large. So some of these here were from slides, which I had transferred. Kind of interesting. But anyway, so definitely check out all this stuff here. There's just, like I said, tons of pictures. There's also some, you know, stationary stuff. There's the 1990s tour where I went through and took pictures. And a lot of the stuff I've shown on the live show before. Some of the pictures, though, have not ever been really seen before on my show, like the most miscellaneous photo section. There's a lot of stuff on here which I believe I've never shown. Some of them which are from eBay, like some people were selling items. So yeah, lots and lots and lots of pictures. So Randy says, I think that pic of the Three Kings in a glass box was in the lobby of the studio where they had a great display of many old characters. That's possible. Some of the stuff was, like I say, it was put on eBay, and that particular person is a dentist, and he actually asked me if I could sort of donate, you know, some of my puppets that I've got from Vinton Studios for him to restore, which I believe Tony Marathu would be the person to do that. And I actually agreed to give him my raisin puppets, which are in really poor shape, on the condition that what he does is they photograph and document the process of restoration so that we can share it with the community. You know, that I think would be awesome because first, you know, what we would be doing is we would be restoring the puppets to their original condition, and that I think alone is a good thing because there's not too many puppets out there. I mean, there are, but they're not really you know, out there. People don't really see them. They're kind of hidden away. They're in boxes and in little, you know, glass containers and plexiglass containers, and you know, nobody really has them out there. And so, you know, at least if it's going to be put in a box and protected and you know, maybe put in a museum for a short while or something, that would be awesome. But if it's not put in a museum, at least people could see the photographs, you know, and that's kind of a plus. Let's see here. This is actually a really awesome picture here. This is a great example of what Will Vintons Studios did, you know, so many years ago. So anyways, let's move on. I've got some more topics to talk about before we get fully into the Vinton topic, which I guess I kind of messed that up, didn't I? But anyways, I wanted to point out that you know, there are still clay animation studios out there. Of course, there's Aardman, which we know about, and we're going to get into that in a bit too. But there's also this studio I found out about called the Ecosaurus, and this is the first time I've ever heard of these guys. I stumbled upon this this YouTube channel called Film Companion, and it says here on this episode of Cheat Sheet, your host Sneha, I'm probably saying her name wrong, meets national award-winning filmmaker and founder of Studio Ikasaurus, Suresh Arayat, I think, to understand what stop-motion animation is. So it's your typical kind of how can I put this? Everybody watching the show knows how stop motion works, but he kind of explains it on a very simple level for anybody to understand who maybe has never heard of it before. And in India, I guess that stop motion is more or less an emerging art. Not too many people do it there, and maybe the fact that it's starting to grow there is a good sign. So the way that he explained it is that they used like a foam, what do you call it? Like a foam strips, like very soft for maybe upholstery, and they would wrap these armatures up and clothe them. And then he said that the outside part of the foam on the body has a thin layer of clay, which I'm not really quite sure how they get it to stick very well unless they've melted it on there. But anyways, they have a bunch of clips on here. I'll try to like fast forward so you can sort of see what they've done. Some examples, of doing animation and just trying to let me see here. And there's actually something else. Where is it? Well, anyways, it's actually a pretty good interview, but they try to take this cube and like they animate it across the table and kind of show the basics. But what I did is I actually looked their site up on the internet and posted it in our link section on the site because I thought it would be important for for if you're looking for a studio to get a job. If you are in India or you're perhaps living out there temporarily or maybe permanently, if you scroll down here, we can click it. It's called Studio Ikasaurus. Open this up real quick. And here's their site. So they've got a Facebook page, an Instagram, Twitter, Vimeo, YouTube, and who we are. So they don't really seem to have a lot of a super amount of information just on their website. They seem to be more social media oriented. So check them out. Click on their stuff. It's very interesting that there are studios out there that still do clear animation, and that's great. So also this particular video is called "What is Stop Motion Animation Cheat Sheet?" Studio Ikasaurus. Is that correct? I think that I might have said it wrong before. Yeah, Ikasaurus. Okay, that's where it is. Alright, so let me close this. Also in other news, Full Moon Mini Vidcast, the Primevals excerpt. So the Primevals evidently has been completed after all these years. So David Allen had started this project many years back. And so yeah, you guys know he probably that he passed away many years ago. I don't think this will play for me. It's kind of doesn't seem to want to work. See if I can reload it. But they had some interesting clips in here from the film, showing some of the live action, and also there are some animation clips as well. Now some of these clips were done. Chris Endicott or Endicott, never can get that right. Did try to work to complete this project, which they tried to keep David Allen's vision, stick to it and complete the film in honor of him. And so like it's been how many years since that time? Maybe 20 years or something. And so a lot of the footage has been hidden away. Some of the footage was made after David Allen's death. Some of the footage, of course, as you see here, is where David is actually doing the animation. So it's a big, a group effort that, I think a lot of people that have seen, like the Puppet Master films, for example, and grew up, in the 1980s in particular, you would probably be most interested in this. And a lot of people have been really, just waiting to see the finished film. And I guess they're going to be actually showing it as a video cast in October. So if you guys want to learn more about this, it's on Vimeo.com. Just look up the Full Moon mini vidcast, the Primevals excerpt. Now, there's no links or anything here to more information. So the video here is pretty limited. Like I'd love to see maybe a link to, maybe it's on Netflix, or maybe a place where you can download it later on, or something. But they didn't really go into that here, which is unfortunate. But that is something to look forward to. Hopefully that will be a successful selling video cast. So let me see here. So Randy's saying, I saw a presentation about this film given by Chris Endicott and at the Stop MoCon in Vegas around 2000. They were trying to finish the film back then. Glad to see it's so close to complete. Primevals, yeah. That's what it's called, and it is kind of great that they have completed it. I mean, it's actually kind of amazing, because I kind of lost hope, because every 5 years you would hear some more stories, and you'd be like, oh yeah, so they said that they have all the footage done, and is it gonna happen? Is it finally gonna happen? And then 5 years of silence, and then of course they pop up now in 2018, and they're talking about it again. So let me move this off to the side here. Alright, so here's something else I found that I thought was really interesting in terms of study of three-dimensional motion for obviously for stop motion animators. So as animators, we're always moving things in a three-dimensional space, but a lot of times we rely on two-dimensional photography of people. Let's say, for example, like when I was growing up, we used to take VHS tapes and pause them, and then go one frame at a time forward through some sort of a scene, be it animation to study the animation, like the stop motion, or live action to study how something moved. Well, I found out about this interesting project called MoSculpt. So they're using artificial intelligence to create 3D printed motion sculptures from 2D videos. So what that means is there are some sort of computer algorithms that can watch video, and I will see if I can play this on mute. So in a nutshell, what it does is it plots the path of all the limbs of the person that's moving, and it can figure out how the depth. So for example, when a leg moves in front of another leg, they can see it, and it can create this sort of motion path. So here we see, like, here's this ballerina, her arms are swinging down, somewhat forward, and then up, and then there's this the whole body kind of moves in a downward position. So this is like the old Muybridge photographs that most of us as animators used to buy, Muybridge books that would show like horses galloping, or a cat running, or a guy walking, fat woman running, a skinny woman running, people jumping, just like this, exactly like this. But it would be in still photographs, and it would be, sort of like a film strip. So what this group has done here is they've taken that to the next level, where they are 3D printing out freeze frames of different positions for you to sort of analyze in a three-dimensional way, which is the way that stop motion animators animate. So what the result is this. We have a sort of path that is shown in 3 dimensions. Like, so the top of the head here kind of goes down, goes up, goes down, goes up, like a waveform, and then we can see the arm. So we have this sort of flat sheet which shows the path of the arm from this position to this position. And you can see, where the elbow would have been, sort of inward towards the body and the arm in an outward position. So, this is not something that I think that you could do yourself currently. And they've only got a paper about how it's done, and I don't really know. I haven't read the paper. But what would be really great is to see something like this on Thingiverse for us 3D printer owners to download samples of, these. I'm guessing they would be .obj files or something, but you can literally just slice and 3D print. Because it would be great to have this as, like a paperweight that you can just always look at. Like, this is what a run cycle is like. Oh, I didn't know that. Like, for example, the legs swung, in a slightly inward and outward path, or maybe the body has a little bounce to it at a certain point, so you can really see all those things in there. But unfortunately, you can't get it quite yet. But very interesting nonetheless. So that's sort of the future of potentially, studying motion for stop motion animators. It is futurism. Yep. Futurism, which will help us become better stop motion animators. Now, this here is actually something I found this morning. It was posted. It's a great interview with Peter Lord, talking about filmmaking, and also talking about working with animators and story, and the importance of what is most important in the films that he does. And he also gets into orchestral music and its role in the films that he's worked on. So if you guys don't know who he is, Peter Lord is one of the founders of Aardman Animation, who created, with Nick Park, Wallace and Gromit. So that's probably the most famous of the characters. But there's also like Chicken Run and Flushed Away. They created a lot of television ads and things for the UK. So if you're in America, you might not have seen a lot of his work. And this kind of goes back to before, when Hoserloo had mentioned they have a licensing deal in America now. So I'm gathering that we'll actually see more Wallace and Gromit and Shaun the Sheep and things like that in America, perhaps on television, things like that, because that would tie into their marketing plan, so kind of interesting in a way. So Omar says the code is online, so it would be possible to download to reproduce the results. And then you say, oh no, it still is coming soon as an interactive tool in the webpage. Oh, okay. That would be awesome. So anyways, I did watch the entire interview here with Peter Lord. Now they did spell his name wrong, and I was confused, and I thought, maybe I was the one to spell his name wrong all the time. So I looked him up on Twitter, and it is Peter Lord, Lord. It's not Lorde. So if you guys want to watch the interview, it's, like I said, it's online now on YouTube. Go ahead and do a search for it and take a listen. Peter Lord has a lot of experience, and you can gain a lot of insight into making stop motion films just by listening in and trying to understand where he's coming from, and his opinions on things, which are pretty important. So I know Bunny Chu said something in Korea, or Korean, in Korean before in the chat. Bunny said, I can hardly wait. So I use Google Translate to say thank you in Korean as well. So I do want to talk, of course, about Will Vinton here some more. Make sure all this is out of here. Okay. Now, Will Vinton did actually get involved in South Korea, with studios to discuss clay animation in particular. And according to my research, H Culture is the company that he was involved with for some time. and they did produce some clay animation pieces. So the problem is that I couldn't really find H Culture's page where perhaps they talked about Will Vinton, and I wish that they had some photographs, or maybe part of their reel. Let's see here. I don't know if I was blasting you guys, so I'm not going to play that. But anyways, so Will Vinton did have a lot of influence in Korea in terms of stop motion, which not a lot of people really know that. And he was very well liked by South Korea, by their in general, for his animation. So, kind of saying, I actually saw clips from a close shave and a car commercial over here in America. Cool. That's interesting. A car commercial, huh? So maybe they are kind of winding up to release things more in America. I think that's really cool. I kind of wonder why Leica doesn't do that. They don't seem to get into the commercial aspect of things anymore on the TV ads. I think that they're just a strict they just want to put stuff in theaters. They're not doing any small time stuff. So it's kind of interesting that maybe Aardman is kind of filling in that gap that Will Vinton left. But that's kind of interesting. So a car commercial. Very interesting. So I don't know if you guys have gone around the internet and done a search for Will Vinton since his passing, but I go on Reddit.com pretty much every day. I read the news there. I also catch up on a lot of things that I'm interested in, and of course, you guys always hear me talk about virtual reality. They have a virtual reality subreddit and other such. They have clay animation. They even have a Domino's Pizza section on Reddit, and they posted about Will Vinton's passing on in the subreddit for Domino's Pizza, which I thought was kind of like, wow, people actually remembered that he made the Domino's Pizza Noid to this day, and how he was associated with Domino's. So, people on Reddit have really come out, and it's surprising. You guys might think that we're a very tight knit group of people. Not many people know about Vinton's history and so forth. And I went on Reddit, and this particular post, Will Vinton, founder of Leica Studios, has died, from wweek.com, which is, I guess, maybe it might be like a Portland. Let me see here real quick. So it's the Willamette Week, and I'm not quite sure where they're located. The writer is from Baltimore, Maryland, but I'm not quite sure. Okay, it's probably an Oregon paper then. I see some Oregon-related articles. Okay, that would make more sense. Not from Maryland. But it was posted, and it's amazing how many people admired him, and how many people also understood, and how many people are still mad at Travis Knight for, and his father for their role with Will Vinton and the sort of takeover of the studio and ousting of Vinton and of course the ensuing lawsuit that all the drama kind of came up again. That people, I don't know if these people had worked for Vinton or were just fans of his that were sort of silent. People were talking about the Adventures of Mark Twain and the famous devil scene that a lot of people like to share even today, like on Facebook. You'll go on Facebook and that old scene where the the character with the face mask kind of comes up out of the ground and talks to the kids and is an angel and a devil, and that whole scene. People really love that, and like I say, people are posting stuff from Wikipedia and commenting on negatively, very negatively about Leica, which is really surprising. And people even posted, and I didn't even realize this till someone posted it, that unfortunately, at the studio, Travis Knight has about a less than a 30% approval rating by all of the coworkers that have gone and anonymously talked about the studio. So I think this was the link here. So I don't really want to get too much into negativity, but there was quite a bit of negativity on this Reddit thread with hundreds of posts, and I was really surprised how many people knew what was going on even after this had happened so many years ago. And part of the reason why, this particular person said that he met Will Vinton in 2003 because of the art school that they both were associated with, and nice things to say. And another person that met him in college says, I went to Art Institute of Portland last month. The whole chain announced it will close all schools. Hope it didn't affect you. I lost all my credits. So I don't really know why that is. I don't really know what's going on at the school, but that's where Will Vinton used to, of course, teach. And he used to teach, of course, claymation. And Don Carlson, who comes by here sometimes, the creator of Puppet Putty, he actually was taught by Will Vinton and was able to use some of the audio tracks from Meet the Raisins. And he was very proud to have met him, and anybody that seems to have met Will has always said positive things. Let me see here. So Ken is saying kids were watching it on the screen in the car or something like that. Oh, okay. There's also there's a mattress company too that they have the Shaun the Sheep characters as mascots. I've seen that in a few places I've been. Jason says CBC Radio in Canada was just doing an interview with Will Vinton's sister this evening. Wow, I didn't know that. Jason, if you have any links to that on the internet, please send it to me. I'd love to listen. So Randy says Willamette is the river that runs through Portland, so it's probably from there. Yep, I guess it was. And Whiskey, you mentioned that scene was also his favorite. So let me see what this guy says here. So this guy's name is Funk Nut on Reddit. So he says, I ran into Will at the Pete's Coffee there at the school one day, and I asked him what was going on at the school, and he mentioned he was giving a lecture for a survey course. Then I reminded him how I played soccer with his kid as we were small children. That's pretty interesting. He was approachable enough, and I didn't ramble. Not much anyway, but the line started moving and someone cut in. He got mildly irritated and said politely, but pretty audibly, "Now look, you've made me lose my place in line." As if he didn't have the free will to just ignore me altogether from the get-go. He says, I ran into him again in the parking garage on another occasion and had a far more pleasant experience. He was carrying something cumbersome looking, and I offered to lend a hand. He had it handled on his own, but he told me to have a look. It was one of the original model sets from a shoot for a California Raisin commercial. As an animation student, I was intrigued and pleasantly surprised. I don't recall specifics, but it seems like it was kind of a nightclub scene or something similar. Now that sounds like a Meet the Raisins shots to me from his description. He says maybe with brick walls. It brightened my day and it reminded me of the privilege in receiving education. Anyway, he says, I know I sucked for sharing a somewhat negative interaction on the day he died, but for me it was positive because he was pleasant despite being irritated with me, but also because that was the lesson that taught me that celebrities aren't as approachable as they may seem and that they have to constantly wear a facade just to get from one place to the next. Cutting in line is a petty and minor offense, but one I've always felt shouldn't stand without reprimand. Will's reaction was far better than mine in being cut in line. Will taught me another lesson that day about standing up for myself. Since then, I have spotted several other celebrities in town, including Fred Armisen, Robin Williams, and Crispin Glover. But I made the decision to just beam them my best smile, and sure enough, they all returned the smile, and maybe it was an even more mutually positive interaction than my sole experience with initiating a candid verbal interaction with a celebrity who was Will Vinton, visionary filmmaker and revolutionary claymation extraordinaire. So very interesting, little like people had bumped into him and they were sharing their stories on here, and who the heck knows who Funknut is, right? Could be anybody, but a lot of people, have so many positive things to say, and it's just great. So Randy says, I recently saw Don's clips from his classes with Will Vinton. They were awesome and very Vinton-esque. Yep. It was actually, I think I'm not sure if he used Puppet Putty at that point. I'm pretty sure he invented Puppet Putty about the same time he went to took those classes, but anyways, so a very interesting Reddit thread. So if you guys go to reddit.com and just search for Will Vinton, you will see all of the... Oh, that doesn't actually show as many, but last time I did a search, it seemed like there was more. Subreddit results. Let's go with all. Will Vinton. Not quite sure if this will work. Yeah, there we go. So you can actually see, a lot of these got a lot of upvotes. This particular person posted a link to Meet the Raisins. Now, we have watched this before on a live show many years back, and so we might show some clips from that tonight. It's a really awesome film. In fact, it's one of the films that I've probably watched when I was younger, several hundred times, just studying it and trying to figure out, how they made the armatures and all those sort of things. Sorry about that. My son popped in here for a minute. So anyways, there's also another really good and very long sort of article that covers the entire history of Will Vinton, which you guys may want to also look up. And this is from Oregon Arts Watch, Oregon's Arts and Culture News, and it's at ORARTS Watch, WATCH.org. So, obviously for Oregon Arts. But if you scroll down and start to read, they've got some really great pictures. They go into his relationship with Bob Gardner, who, of course, now he passed away, I think, not really sure what year. Let me see. I guess 2005. He was 54 years old. So he was pretty young. I do remember talking to his family. They had written to me because at the time, my webpage was one of the only few that covered claymation, and of course, you guys know my infatuation with the studio at that time, and Will and so forth. So they did kind of talk to me off and on a few times through emails about their, I hate to say, but their animosity towards the whole thing that happened between Will and Bob. So it's kind of like I was I was not really taking sides or anything like that, just listening. But I don't believe I saved those emails from back then either. I probably should have. But a very interesting relationship that they had early on. Um, let's scroll down here. 1 second, everybody. 1 second. Okay. I don't know what my son is doing. But awesome pictures on here, and they've even got one of Will Vinton here, which he's in front of his piano, and this is just from last year. So I mean, it's really sad how Will passed, and it seems like it was a more or less. I mean, he was fighting an illness for over 12 years, but it seems like at the this year it was kind of a sudden thing, at least from what I can tell, because they had the Welcome to My Daydream documentary, which I guess will come out hopefully within the next 6 months or so. Highly anticipated. I was a backer of the Kickstarter campaign myself, and I'm sure some of you guys were as well. And I mean, since he passed, I'm just kind of wondering, like, will they be changing the ending, or will they be covering his because they're gonna have what? They're gonna have a gathering. Actually, let me do something real quick for you guys. Just gonna do this and bring up my Facebook page. So I was friends with Will Vinton on Facebook. Let me bring him up. So where is he? Hopefully they didn't take his page down. Here we go. Which I hope they don't take his page down, actually. Okay, let me show you guys what I'm doing. Get rid of this. Okay. So, people are still posting to his page. Lots and lots of pictures. Here's one from Mark Axton. So, it's like an early 2000 meeting with all of the artists. I actually remember this picture. I've seen it before. It's a lot of people. Vinton tribute. Gonna have to go back a bit here, and I'm trying to see. Let's see, this is the 8th still. So let me see. They've got an actual address where they're gonna meet. They're gonna have like a celebration of his life, and so where's the information about it though for you guys? Let's see. So oh, thanks, Jason. I appreciate that. And Ken says, I regret I was not a backer. Hopefully I can still buy the DVD when they finish the documentary. Yeah, I'm still not sure where you'll be able to find that, but I'm pretty sure, they'll have a storefront of some sort. Okay, so I guess it's pretty far back here, guys. Lots of people had posted to his wall. Everybody that knew him, of course. And I hope that it would be nice, a nice gesture for Travis Knight, to make some sort of a statement. Peter Lord, like, you kind of hope that these people would recognize Will and his contribution to stop motion. But it's just really strange how everybody's been kind of silent. Like, the really big people have been very silent. But everybody that has met him, animators and so forth and directors, all have great things to say. Now, Where is the information? Okay, I think this is... Okay, here it is. So I guess this is probably one of Will's daughters that posted this. This was the first statement that came out on October 4th. So they're going to have a celebration. It says, a celebration of our father's life will take place at No Vacancy Lounge from 3 o'clock on Sunday, October 21st. So, that's, not too far away. It's only 11 days away. And, where No Vacancy Lounge is, I guess you could look that up and, put that in Google or something if you'd like to find out. So anyways, yeah, it's really cool. I mean, a lot of people posting, just their admiration and all that kind of good stuff. Okay, so let me see here. I think that... Okay, yeah, I'm not sure if they posted anything about where you can find the documentary and all that kind of stuff, but I believe... Let's see, updates. Yeah, I'm not sure. Alright, well anyways guys, so we got just about 13 minutes left. So this particular film, like I said, we have shown this, I believe, once or twice. And I guess it was probably once. Many years ago, we did show this called Meet the Raisins. So this film, I'm not going to really, let me see, well, maybe I can make it big. Yeah, I could do that. So a lot of this stuff here that you see is during the very peak of Will Vinton Studios when they were doing a lot of clay animation. And so all this stuff was, they tried to make everything from Van Eyck and clay. So the sets, the walls of everything would be made from wood and then painted with clay. All the armatures were, mostly lead wire and brass tube armatures. It seems like it's very archaic today compared to like silicone and foam latex. But of course, Will Vinton at this time was very into making, like I say, everything had to be clay. So this character was all clay, the walls were clay, the TV was clay, and pretty much the whole thing was clay. I mean, that was it. But the animation that they created with the limitations of clay itself, it's really amazing how, like, John Ashley, who animated this character, was able to get so much expression and life into his face and into his eyes and the posture and so anyways, let me see if I can show you guys this one character. So let's see here. So this guy here is Rudy Begeman, and he was animated by Gary Bialke, and it's just like some of the craziest, most energetic sort of animation. But look at this. So we were talking about the guy on Reddit, remember? So he said that Will Vinton was moving a set that looked like it was from a bar with brick walls. And I'm almost positive this is the scene he was talking about right here. So I guess Will was probably moving this into a garage or some kind of a storage shed or something when that guy had bumped into him. See if there's any more shots of that. I think there is towards the end of the film. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, but yeah, that's right. They do some animation here, but then they just stop the animation and freeze frame the characters. But this is probably that set. But anyway, there's so many amazing shots in this particular film. If anybody wants to have a link to it, or perhaps I could post this up on the website. But just for study, this is one of the top clay animated films that you can study to try and learn how things work dynamically, with the limits of clay. And like, for example, I'll show you this one shot that I always find fascinating. So if you watch the carrot's hands here, you see how his hands kind of come into the shot, right? So if you think about it, like if you go back here and watch it again, it doesn't make any sense physically. Like when you get the close-up of his hands and his hands are going around, so his hands kind of come into the scene from below, and if you were probably to step back and see the whole entire like his whole body, his hands would be popping into position where they're close to his face and coming out every single time. And see, like even just freeze framing this one frame of film and seeing all the detail that was put into this one frame. Each and every frame was hand sculpted 24 times per second, and you could freeze frame each one of these and just see an amazing work of art. Like this one expression with the sort of the F sound, right? It's making the F shaped phoneme, or whatever you want to call it, and how it transitions into another mouth position. It's just beautiful. I don't know. It's just awesome. That's why I love clay animation so much. So Randy says, hope the No Vacancy Lounge is prepared for an enormous flood of people at Will's celebration. Yikes. I hope so. I don't know how large it is. Have you ever been there, Randy? I'm hoping if it's a lounge, it's a very big one myself, but I wouldn't be surprised, if a lot of just people, because if they announced it on his Facebook, he's got, I don't know how many thousands of friends he's got. Probably has a lot. Oh, okay, just about 339. That's surprising. I would have expected more for Will, but still, if all, if half of those people showed up, it's still 200 people, right? So anyways, what else can we talk about? You guys have any comments you want to say about Will, or anything like that? Feel free. So Randy says, I think I was there for a company party, not all that big. Oh, okay. So maybe it was not an appropriate venue. Well, hopefully the weather will hold out. At least it's not that cold. Like if it was winter time, that would be bad because if there's people outside. But so anyways, let me do something real quick. Let me just hide this for a moment. Bring up our website again. So I am going to depart from talking, let's see, about Vinton, unless you guys have anything you'd like to say. But I do have some news, and this is not really an official announcement yet, but Dan Metal Mad Cat and I have been talking about, so I've been trying to allow people who want to, have an outlet for, growing our site and not necessarily making it just like my site, because obviously you guys are all animators and you have your things that you want to do, and you probably would like our site to go in certain directions, and I'm trying to sort of give people like you that are watching the ability to have a say in the webpage, because it's not just my website. There's people that live on there and spend their time checking out the videos and the pictures and tutorials and challenges and the videos and all that. So I'm trying to hand over some of the control to some of you people out there. And so I asked Metal Mad Cat. I said, he's got some downtime for now, and he's always been into stop motion, and he's kind of going through some tough times. And so I said, hey, if you want to just like do something to the webpage, if you have any ideas, I thanked him for example, I added a new section called video interviews on our site. And so Dan and Dante have been on our live show as guests, and we did some interviews. And they had a lot of passion at the time, and I think Dante is still working perhaps in one of his studios. If you recall, he was doing some animation for people with Down syndrome. Trying to tell a story about how kids with Down syndrome, how they had to go through certain trials and tribulations, and he was trying to sort of do some kind of like stop motion activism, if you recall. So they're both from Argentina, and they were together, of course. And I believe this one, is it this one? One of these, they actually show how you build puppets. I think it was that one. So anyway, I've got all our video interviews here, some with Alba Garcia and so forth. But I said to Dan, I said, it's been a while since we talked, and maybe if you want to do anything to the webpage, I'll just give you control and just feel free to do whatever you want. So he was saying that maybe since he speaks Spanish, that we could translate some of the tutorials into Spanish, so we could sort of expand the site to a more Spanish-speaking audience. So we're gonna see how it goes, and I said that's fine. I said, just don't kill yourself. I'm not rich. I can't like pay him a lot to do that. I'm trying to be straightforward and honest, and I said, but anything you want to do, I said, feel free, and I appreciate it, and I think if it helps the community, the stop motion community, and also if he is, if it doesn't hurt him and hurt, cut into his time, which maybe he needs time for other things. I said, as long as those things are there, and the stars are aligned, I said, that's great. And maybe some of you out there who speak Spanish have a hard time kind of getting around the site and figuring out how to make puppets or armatures or things like that. Or I think, like, for example, some of our popular articles, one of the most popular is how to make foam latex puppets. So there's a lot of interest in that, and I'm sure that interest translates into Spanish-speaking countries like Spain or Mexico or wherever, Latin America. So I think that's going to be a great contribution to the site. Like I say, we're gonna get started on that probably soon. And if anybody else out there is interested in perhaps helping build the site up, maybe you want to check out web pages, and you'd like to contribute adding links to blogs or helpful resources in that section of the site, or if you have any photos. Now, I do plan to expand our gallery. I think the next gallery that I add will be like the Phil Tippett photos that I have, because I have lots of those. A lot of them are like his stop motion notes that he wrote on paper. Some really cool stuff, which I know I've shown on the live show before, but I've never made them available on the site anywhere, or I don't think they're on Facebook either. If anybody wants to just go on the forums and perhaps answer questions, I think we can really make our site a lot better. Of course, we have Hoser Lou is doing a great job with the news, writing articles, which is really great. I noticed there's more people checking out the network and signing up and making posts and asking questions. I think the Discord, Discord might not be super popular yet. Like, I haven't really advertised it, but that's something that maybe we could work on as well. But if anybody out there has any ideas, feel free to let me know. feel free to just post it either on the network page or click on contact and just click on my email address if you would like to tell Hoser Lou about a story you read for posting on the network news page. His email address is here. So all the information is there. And anyways, I do appreciate everybody who has been listening to our show all these years and contributing to the site. And it is time to end the show. So like I said, if you guys have any comments you'd like to add to our live broadcast, feel free to post it below in the chat. All right, see you guys all next week.